Hi there! In this video, we're going to talk about evaluating with function notation. So this is kind of like a follow-up video from the function notation video about what is function notation. So what does it mean when I'm evaluating with function notation? It means I'm going to take the numbers they give me for either x or y, and I'm going to use the function notation for both equations and graphs to find the missing piece of information they're asking. So we're going to start with graphs first. Okay, so I drew this graph out for you. It doesn't matter what the equation of the graph is. A lot of times in math, they're just going to, when we're looking at analyzing a graph like this right here, I'm analyzing this graph. They're not going to tell you the equation, they're just going to give you the graph. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this picture of a graph to help answer some questions. And then these questions are going to be based on function notation. So this first question says, find f of 1. Okay, so we learned that if you have a function over here, this is my function f of x, that when this x got replaced by a 1, that means here that x is equal to 1. So they want you to find when x is equal to 1, what do you get? What is y? So I have to find when x is equal to 1. So I start at my origin on my graph. And remember, x is this axis and y is this axis here. So I start at my origin here. When x is equal to 1, that's here. Well, there's no graph right here. So on this line, my x equals 1 line, I have to find where's my point. My point is right here. So what is this ordered pair? This is 1, 2. So this question right here, f of 1 says, when x is equal to 1, how much is y? Y is 2. So this answer is 2. Okay, now we're going to do the opposite. In this part B here, they're saying f of x is equal to 4. Remember, f of x is the same thing as y. So if I wrote this out as an ordered pair, they're saying, well, y is equal to 4. How much is x? So I go on my graph, and remember, y counts up and down. So I'm going to count y equals 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I am here, but my graph isn't here. So on this line, on this horizontal line, where do I have a point? Here. So I have to figure out what's my ordered pair here. My ordered pair is 1, 2, 3, negative 3, up 4. So this is saying, what's my x value when y is equal to 4? My x value is negative 3. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions on that. I know it can be a little bit confusing. We're going to move on though and now look at how to use function notation with equations. So in our last video, we talked about function notation and what it is and how to evaluate a function. So just as a quick refresher, when they say g of 6, that means I'm going to take my function g, which is what they tell me right here, and I'm going to, wherever I have an x, I'm going to replace it with a 6. So here I'd write out my skeleton, 2 times blank minus 10, and in this space right here, I'm going to write a 6. So that now I just evaluate using my order of operations. 2 times 6 is 12. 12 minus 10 is equal to 2. I could write an ordered pair here. So my ordered pair, well, my x value that I plugged in, they told me when you plug in 6, you get what you figured out, which is 2. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing backwards, just like we did with the graph. This question says, remember, f of x is the same as y. When y is equal to 8, what is x? So if you wanted to start with an ordered pair, this is saying when y is equal to 8, I have to find out what this is. So in my equation, let's rewrite our equation. Here's my equation, g of x equals 2x minus 10. So I'll write this here, we'll use blue. Whoops. G of x equals 2x minus 10. Okay, now g of x, remember, is the same thing as y. So here, where I have a g of x, they're telling me it's equal to 8. Here, same as y. So I'm going to write 8 in this spot. equals 2x minus 10. Now I have to solve for x. So I'm going to draw a line down my equals. So whatever I do to one side, I remember to do to the other. I have to move this 2, and I have to move this negative 10. I'm going to move my negative 10 first. So this is, what's the opposite of negative 10? The opposite of negative 10 is positive 10. So I'm going to add 10 to both sides. This cancels out. I end up with 2x is equal to 18. Now I have to move this 2. This says 2 times x. So how do you undo times or undo multiplication? I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And I end up with 9. So that means when y is equal to 8, I'm going to take this value and plug it in here, x is equal to 9. Let me know if you have any questions on evaluating using function notation with a graph or an equation. The y one is the trickier one to find. And just remember that f of x or g of x or h of x, these all mean the same thing as y. So if you get confused, when I was in school, I always just used to write it out because I got confused. I would just write, oh, if they showed f of x, I just wrote y equals whatever my equation was, because that made the most sense to me. And it's totally okay if you do that. You can interchange them. Just make sure that you understand that these mean the same thing. Let me know if you have any questions. Good luck.